Sample question paper. Created by Couture Foundation. On ICSE's professional program. Group 2 elective paper 7.4. Banking and Insurance Laws and Practice. Lesson 14. Concept of Insurance. Banking and Insurance Laws and Practice. Question paper. Total 100 marks. Part I. Short answer questions 40 marks. Answer the following questions in 2 to 3 sentences each, 4 marks each. Q1. Define insurance. Provide a brief definition based on the concept of a contract or arrangement between two parties. Answer. Insurance is a contract or arrangement where one party, the insurer, agrees to compensate another party, the insured, for a specific loss, damage, or injury in return for a payment called a premium. It acts as a risk management tool that provides financial protection against uncertain future events. Q2. What is underwriting? Describe its importance in the insurance process. Answer. Underwriting is the process by which an insurance company evaluates the risk of a potential client to determine if they should be insured and at what cost. It is crucial because it ensures that the premium charged is proportionate to the level of risk, maintaining the financial stability of the insurance pool. Q3. Explain the term sum assured. How does it differ from a premium? Answer. The sum assured is the guaranteed amount that the insurance company pays to the policyholder or nominee upon the occurrence of a specified event, such as death or maturity. In contrast, the premium is the specific amount of money paid periodically by the policyholder to the insurer to keep the insurance policy active. Q4. Who is a nominee in a life insurance policy? State their role upon the death of the life assured. Answer. A nominee is the person appointed by the policyholder to receive the policy's benefits in the event of the policyholder's death. Their primary role is to act as a legal representative who receives the claim amount from the insurer and ensures it is distributed according to the deceased's will or legal requirements. Q5. Distinguish between life insurance and general insurance. Give one example of each. Answer. Life insurance provides a payout upon the death of the insured or after a set period, focusing on financial protection for individuals and their families, e.g., a term insurance plan. General insurance covers non-life assets against damage or loss from specific risks, e.g., motor insurance for a vehicle. Q6. What is the principle of utmost good faith, verime fide? Explain its significance in an insurance contract. Answer. This principle requires both the insurer and the insured to disclose all material facts honestly and completely before entering into the contract. It is significant because insurance is based on mutual trust, and any non-disclosure or misrepresentation of facts can make the contract void. Q7. Define annuity. How is it useful for a policyholder after retirement? Answer. An annuity is an insurance product that provides a series of periodic payments to the insured, usually starting after retirement, in exchange for a lump sum or regular premiums paid earlier. It is useful because it offers a guaranteed regular income stream, helping retirees manage their living expenses when they no longer have a salary. Q8. What are linked insurance products? Mention who bears the investment risk in such products. Answer. Linked insurance products, such as ULIPs, are policies where a portion of the premium is used for insurance coverage and the rest is invested in equity or debt markets. In these products, the investment risk is borne entirely by the policyholder rather than the insurance company. Q9. List any 4 acts that regulate the insurance business in India. Answer. 4 major acts regulating the industry are the Insurance Act, 1938, the IRDA Act, 1999, the LIC Act, 1956, and the Consumer Protection Act, 1986. Q10. Explain the principle of indemnity. Why is it not applicable to life insurance? Answer. The principle of indemnity states that the insurer will compensate the insured only for the actual amount of loss suffered, restoring them to the same financial position as before the loss. It does not apply to life insurance because the value of a human life cannot be measured in exact monetary terms, so the full sum assured is paid regardless of the cost of the loss. Part 2. Essay type questions, 40 marks. Answer any 5 of the following questions in 200 to 300 words each, 8 marks each. Q1. Discuss the pooling of risks. Explain how this concept forms the basic foundation of insurance with a suitable example. Answer. The pooling of risks is the fundamental principle upon which the entire insurance industry is built. It is based on the law of large numbers, which suggests that while it is impossible to predict if a specific individual will suffer a loss, it is possible to predict the average frequency of losses within a large group of similar individuals. In this system, a large number of people exposed to similar risks come together and contribute a small amount of money, known as a premium, into a common fund or pool. When one member of this pool suffers an actual loss, the financial compensation is drawn from this collective fund. This effectively spreads the financial burden of a few individuals across the entire group, making the loss manageable for everyone. Instead of one person facing a devastating financial crisis, everyone shares a small, certain cost, the premium, to protect against a large, uncertain loss. Example, Imagine 1000 house owners in a colony. Each house is valued at 10 rupees lakhs. Statistically, it is known that one house might catch fire every year. If no insurance exists, that one owner loses 10 rupees lakhs. However, if all 1000 owners contribute 1000 rupees each into a pool, they create a fund of 10 rupees lakhs. If one house burns down, the owner is compensated from this pool. Thus, for a small cost of 1000 rupees, each owner is protected against a 10 rupees lakh loss. Q2. Outline the history of insurance in India. Describe the 5 major phases of its evolution. Answer. The evolution of insurance in India is a journey from an unregulated market to a highly structured and growing sector. It can be divided into 5 distinct phases. Pre-independence era, modern insurance began with the establishment of the Oriental Life Insurance Company in Calcutta, 1818, and the Triton Insurance Company, 1850, for general insurance. During this time, British firms dominated the market, and Indian lives were often charged higher premiums. Early regulation, 1912-1938. The first legislation was the Indian Life Assurance Companies Act, 1912. Later, the Insurance Act, 1938 was passed, which became the first comprehensive piece of legislation to regulate both life and non-life insurance, providing strict state control over insurance business. Nationalization of life insurance, 1956. To prevent fraud and ensure that insurance reached the masses, the Government of India nationalized the life insurance sector. 245 Indian and foreign insurers were merged to form the Life Insurance Corporation of India, LIC. Nationalization of general insurance, 1972. Following the life sector, the General Insurance Business Nationalization Act was passed. 107 insurers were merged into 4 companies, National, New India, Oriental, and United India, under the General Insurance Corporation of India, GIC. Liberalization and IRDAI, 1999. Present. Following the Malhotra Committee recommendations, the government opened the sector to private and foreign players. The IRDA Act, 1999 was passed, establishing the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority as an independent regulator, leading to the competitive and diverse market seen today. Q3. Explain the regulatory framework of insurance in India. Highlight the role and mission of the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, IRDAI. Answer. The insurance sector in India is governed by a robust legal framework designed to protect policyholders and ensure the financial health of insurers. The primary legislations include the Insurance Act, 1938, the LIC Act, 1956, and the IRDA Act, 1999. Additionally, other laws like the Consumer Protection Act and the Indian Stamp Act play supporting roles in the execution and enforcement of insurance contracts. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, IRDAI, is the statutory body at the center of this framework. Its mission is to protect the interests of policyholders, regulate the insurance industry, and ensure the orderly growth of the market. Key roles of IRDAI. Licensing. It issues, renews, or cancels registrations for insurance companies and intermediaries, like agents and brokers. Protection of policyholders. It ensures that claims are settled fairly and grievances are addressed. Setting standards. It establishes norms for capital adequacy, solvency margins, and investments to ensure insurance companies remain financially stable. Supervision. It monitors the conduct of insurers and has the power to inspect their books and records to prevent malpractice. Q4. Describe the various types of general insurance products. Focus on fire, marine, and motor insurance. Answer. General insurance refers to any insurance that is not life insurance. It typically provides indemnity for losses to physical assets. Fire insurance. This covers damage or loss to property, buildings, machinery, stock, caused by fire and other allied perils like lightning, explosions, or strikes. The goal is to restore the insured to the same financial position they were in before the fire occurred. Marine insurance. This is one of the oldest forms of insurance. It covers the loss or damage of ships, hull insurance, the goods they carry, cargo insurance, and the liability of the shipowner, freight insurance. It protects against perils of the sea, such as collisions, sinking, or piracy during transit via water, air, or land. Motor insurance. In India, this is the most common form of general insurance because third-party liability insurance is mandatory by law, Motor Vehicles Act. Third-party cover protects the owner against legal liability for death, injury, or property damage caused to a third party. Own damage, OD, cover covers the cost of repairs to the owner's own vehicle due to accidents, theft, or natural calamities. Q5. Discuss the principle of insurable interest. Explain why it is a legal requirement for a valid insurance contract. Answer. The principle of insurable interest dictates that the person taking out the insurance must have a legal and financial relationship with the subject matter being insured. This means the individual must stand to benefit from the safety of the item life or suffer a financial loss from its damage or death. Why it is a legal requirement. Prevention of gambling. Without insurable interest, insurance would become a wager or a gamble. For instance, you cannot insure a neighbor's house and hope it burns down to collect money. You must own the house or have a financial stake in it. Moral hazard reduction, it prevents individuals from intentionally causing damage to property or harm to lives just to collect insurance proceeds. If you have a genuine interest in the object, you are more likely to take care of it. Validity of contract. Under the Indian Contract Act and insurance laws, a contract without insurable interest is considered void. In life insurance, insurable interest must exist at the time of taking the policy. In general insurance, it must usually exist at the time of the loss. Q6. Evaluate insurance as a social security tool. How does it provide safety and financial support to families and businesses? Answer. Insurance serves as a vital social security mechanism by providing a safety net that prevents individuals and businesses from falling into poverty due to unforeseen disasters. It promotes social stability by replacing uncertainty with security. For families, insurance provides financial support to dependents in the event of the breadwinner's death. Life insurance, or covers astronomical medical bills. Health insurance. This ensures that children can continue their education and families can maintain their standard of living even during a crisis. It encourages a culture of systematic saving and long-term planning. For businesses, insurance protects the capital invested in a business. If a factory is destroyed by fire or a shipment is lost at sea, insurance provides the funds to rebuild or restock. This allows businesses to take calculated risks and innovate, knowing that a single disaster will not lead to total bankruptcy. Furthermore, liability insurance protects businesses from legal suits, ensuring their continuity and protecting the jobs of their employees. Q7. Explain the different types of health insurance products. Differentiate between indemnity-based and fixed benefit-based products. Answer. Health insurance is designed to cover the costs of medical and surgical expenses. These products are broadly categorized into two types. Indemnity-based health insurance. This is the most traditional form of health insurance, e.g., Mediclaim. The insurer indemnifies or compensates the insured for the actual expenses incurred in the hospital, up to the sum assured. If the bill is 50,000 rupees and your cover is 1 rupee lakh, the company pays 50,000 rupees. It is a reimbursement of costs. Fixed benefit-based health insurance. In this type, the insurer pays a predetermined, fixed amount regardless of the actual hospital bill, provided the specific condition defined in the policy occurs. Example, a critical illness plan might promise to pay 5 rupees lakhs immediately upon the diagnosis of cancer. Even if the treatment costs only 2 rupees lakhs, the policyholder receives the full 5 rupees lakhs. Comparison, indemnity plans are best for general hospitalization and surgery costs, while fixed benefit plans, like hospital cash or critical illness, act as a supplement to provide extra financial support for lost income or lifestyle changes during a major illness. Part 3, Case Study, 20 marks. Read the following case and answer the questions that follow, 2 marks each. Case Study. Mr. Sharma, a 45-year-old sole breadwinner of a family of 4, purchases a term life insurance policy with a sum assured of 50 rupees lakhs. He pays a small periodic premium to the insurance company. 2 years later, Mr. Sharma unfortunately passes away in a road accident. His wife, who is the registered nominee, approaches the insurance company for the claim. Meanwhile, the insurance company investigates the proposal form submitted by Mr. Sharma and finds that he had not disclosed a pre-existing minor heart condition, although it was not the cause of his death. Q1. Identify the subject matter of insurance in this case. Answer. The subject matter of insurance in this case is the life of Mr. Sharma. In life insurance, the subject matter refers to the person whose life is being covered against the risk of death or disability. Q2. What is the role of the nominee, Mrs. Sharma, in this scenario? Answer. Mrs. Sharma's role is to act as the legal recipient of the policy benefits upon the death of the life assured. She is responsible for filing the claim with the insurance company and receiving the sum assured of 50 rupees lakhs to provide financial support for the family. Q3. Explain the concept of risk transfer, as seen in Mr. Sharma's decision to buy the policy. Answer. Risk transfer occurs when Mr. Sharma shifts the potential financial burden of his untimely death from his family to the insurance company. By paying a small periodic premium, he ensures that the insurer bears the large financial risk of losing the family's primary income. Q4. Discuss the impact of the principle of utmost good faith regarding Mr. Sharma's non-disclosure. Answer. This principle requires the insured to disclose all material facts, such as a pre-existing heart condition, which could influence the insurer's decision to provide cover. Mr. Sharma's failure to disclose this condition is a breach of this principle, as he did not provide a full and honest representation of his health risks. Q5. Can the insurance company legally avoid the contract based on concealment? Briefly explain why or why not. Answer. Yes, the insurance company can potentially avoid the contract because the non-disclosure of a heart condition is considered material concealment of a fact that affects the risk assessment. Even though the heart condition did not cause the accidental death, the breach of the principle of utmost good faith at the time of inception often gives the insurer the legal right to void the policy. Trophy Gold Medal Classical Building Woman Student. Test yourself. Q1. What are the essentials of a valid insurance contract? Answer. A valid insurance contract must satisfy the essential elements of a general contract under the Indian Contract Act, 1872, along with specific insurance principles. Firstly, there must be free consent of parties who are competent to contract, and the agreement must be for a lawful consideration and object. The premium paid by the insured serves as the consideration. Secondly, insurable interest is a key requirement. The insured must have a financial or legal interest in the subject matter of insurance. Without this, the contract becomes void and is treated as a wager. Another essential element is utmost good faith, uberrime fide. Both insurer and insured must disclose all material facts honestly. Non-disclosure or misrepresentation can lead to cancellation of the contract. The contract must also include a valid subject matter, i.e., life, property, or liability exposed to risk. Additionally, the contract should clearly define the risk, premium, sum assured, and terms and conditions in the policy document. Insurance contracts are also aleatory, meaning the benefits depend on uncertain events. They are unilateral, where only the insurer makes a legally enforceable promise after the insured pays the premium. Lastly, the contract must comply with principles such as indemnity, except life insurance, subrogation, and contribution. All these essentials together ensure that the insurance contract is legally valid and enforceable. Q2. IRDAI is regulator of insurance sector in India. Explain the role of IRDAI in regulating insurance companies in India. Answer. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, IRDAI, is the apex body responsible for regulating and promoting the insurance sector in India. Established under the IRDA Act, 1999, it ensures orderly growth and protection of policyholders' interests. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, IRDAI, is the statutory body established under the IRDA Act, 1999, to oversee and promote the insurance industry. Its role is multifaceted. Registration and licensing. IRDAI is responsible for issuing certificates of registration to new insurance companies and renewing, modifying, or withdrawing these licenses based on compliance. Policyholder protection. Our primary mission is to protect the interests of policyholders regarding claim settlements, policy terms, and grievance redressal. It ensures that the fine print is fair to the consumer. Promoting efficiency. It sets standards for the conduct of insurance business, including the qualification and training of agents and intermediaries, brokers and surveyors. Financial oversight. IRDAI monitors the solvency margins of companies to ensure they have enough capital to pay out future claims. It also regulates how insurance companies invest their funds to prevent risky speculation with policyholders' money. Supervision. It has the power to inspect, investigate, and audit insurers and intermediaries to maintain transparency and prevent malpractice in the sector. Q3. Insurance is risk mitigation tool. Explain this statement with the help of example. Answer. Insurance acts as a risk mitigation tool by providing a mechanism to manage pure risks, those that involve only the possibility of loss or no loss. It does not prevent the physical occurrence of a disaster, but it mitigates the financial impact of that disaster by transferring the risk from an individual to a larger group, the insurer. The basic concept is risk pooling. A large number of people contribute small amounts of premium into a common fund. When a loss occurs to any member, compensation is paid from this pooled fund. This spreads the risk across many individuals, reducing the impact on a single person. Example, consider a small business owner who operates a warehouse filled with goods worth 50 rupees lakhs. The risk of a fire is a constant threat. If a fire occurs and the warehouse is not insured, the owner faces total financial ruin and may have to close the business. By purchasing a fire insurance policy for a relatively small premium, e.g., 10,000 rupees per year, the owner mitigates this risk. If the fire happens, the insurance company compensates for the 50 rupees lakh loss. The certain loss of the premium replaces the uncertain and potentially devastating loss of the entire inventory, allowing the business to remain financially stable despite the accident. Q4. What is the differences between life insurance and general insurance companies? Answer. While both involve risk transfer and premiums, life and general insurance differ significantly in their nature and objectives. Subject matter. Life insurance covers the life of a human being. General insurance covers physical assets like houses, cars, ships, or liabilities like legal or medical expenses. Nature of contract. General insurance is usually a contract of indemnity, meaning the goal is to compensate for the actual loss and return the insured to their previous financial state. Life insurance is not a contract of indemnity because human life cannot be valued in money. Instead, it is a contingent contract, where a fixed sum is paid. Duration. Life insurance policies are typically long-term, spanning 10, 20, or 30 years. General insurance policies are usually short-term, typically renewed annually. Insurable interest. In life insurance, insurable interest must exist at the time the policy is purchased. In general insurance, like marine, it must exist at the time the loss occurs. Event certainty. Death is certain, only the timing is unknown, so life insurance often includes an investment or savings element. General insurance covers events that might happen: fire, theft, accident, and if the event doesn't happen, no money is usually returned. Q5. Insurance is a security tool. Explain. Answer. Insurance serves as a security tool by providing a foundation of financial certainty in an uncertain world. It protects the economic value of assets and human life, ensuring that a single catastrophic event does not lead to a permanent decline in the standard of living. Social security. For individuals, it provides a safety net. Life insurance ensures that if a breadwinner passes away, the family is not left destitute. Health insurance ensures that a medical emergency does not wipe out a lifetime of savings. This psychological peace of mind allows individuals to live more confidently. Economic security. For the broader economy, insurance provides the security needed for trade and industry to flourish. Banks are more willing to lend money for a house or a factory if they know the asset is insured. By protecting capital, insurance encourages investment and entrepreneurship. Furthermore, insurance companies collect vast amounts of premiums which they invest in long-term infrastructure projects, like roads and power plants, providing the financial security required for national development. In essence, it converts the fear of loss into the security of protection. Thanks to learn with us. You can find more study content on our website couture.com.